When we enter an abandoned building, we like to think of ourselves as cameras. We believe that we're passive observers, silent witnesses walking through a dead space, there to record whatever activity might be happening. We tell ourselves that if a door slams, or a floorboard creaks, or the temperature drops, it must be an external force, because we didn't touch anything. But physics tells us a different story. In a world of thermodynamics and fluid dynamics, there's no such thing as a passive observer. To a closed environment that has been sitting empty for decades, you're not a witness. You're a catastrophe. Today, I want to talk about the physics of the intruder. I want to look at what actually happens to a room when a human being walks into it. We aren't going to talk about demons or residual energy. We're going to talk about sorption isotherms, thermal plumes, and fluid displacement. We're going to explore a concept that is essentially a macroscopic version of Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. The idea that the mere act of observing a system inevitably changes its state. In the context of a haunted house, the ghost isn't a spirit of the dead. The ghost is a delayed, complex reflection of you. To understand this, we first have to understand the static system. Imagine a house that's been abandoned for 30 years. It's settled into a deep thermodynamic equilibrium. The air is stratified, cold air on the floor, warm air at the ceiling, and it doesn't move. The dust has settled into cohesive layers, glued down by static friction and molecular forces. The wood and glass have relaxed. It's a system in deep relaxation. Low energy, high entropy. It's silent. And then you walk in. A human being is a machine. You are a 100-watt heater. You're a humidifier, pumping out moisture with every breath. You are a displacement engine, dragging a wake of air behind you. When you enter that static room, you act as a forcing function. You kick the system out of equilibrium, and the system pushes back. It creaks, the cold spots, the moving objects. These are the building attempting to process the sudden shock of your biological presence. The scary part isn't that the house is haunted. The scary part is that you are haunting it, and you don't even know you're doing it. Let's break this down by vector. The first and perhaps most deceptive vector is your breath, or more specifically, moisture. Old houses are made of wood. Floorboards, wainscoting, framing. Wood is hygroscopic. That means it loves water. It chemically wants to bond with water vapor. So in an abandoned house, the wood is dry. It has reached a state of balance with the dry, stale air. Then you walk in. You're stressed, maybe a little scared, breathing heavily. You are exhaling air that is nearly 100% relative humidity. You're essentially spraying water vapor onto the walls. Two things happen immediately, but invisibly. First, the wood starts to drink in that water. This process, absorption, it's exothermic. That means that it releases heat. And as the water molecules lock into the wood fibers, they release energy. If you point a thermal camera at a wall that you've been breathing near, it will look like it's glowing. Paranormal investigators call this thermal manifestation, or an energy signature. Physics calls it the heat of sorption. The wall isn't heating up because there's a spirit touching it. It's heating up because it's absorbing your breath. The second thing that happens is the noise. When wood absorbs water, it swells, it expands. But in a house, the wood is nailed down, it's trapped. It can't expand freely, so pressure builds up. Immense pressure. We're talking about megapascals of force accumulating at the microscopic level. This is where the ghost illusion comes from. It's called latency. The surface of the wood responds to your breath in seconds. But the stress takes time to migrate deep into the fiber and find a weak point. So you walk into a hallway, you look around, it's quiet, you leave. 10 minutes later, you're in the next room. Crack! A loud pop echoes from the hallway that you just left. You think, I'm not in there. It must be a ghost following me. Wrong. That crack was the acoustic emission of the stress that you created 10 minutes ago, finally overcoming the friction of a rusty nail. The house is reacting to you, but there's a time lag, and that delay disconnects the cause, you, from the effect, the sound. You're hearing the echo of your own breath, 10 minutes late. Now let's talk about the classic cold spot, the sudden drop in temperature that investigators claim is a spirit drawing energy from the air to manifest. To understand this, we have to look at you as the heat engine. Your skin is about 33 degrees Celsius, but the air in the abandoned house might be 15 degrees. And that temperature difference drives convection. You create a thermal plume. The air right next to your body heats up and shoots upward, right over your head, at about 20 to 40 centimeters per second. This rising air hits the ceiling and then spreads out. But nature abhors a vacuum. If air is going up, air has to come down somewhere else to replace it. And this creates a giant invisible donut shape in the room, a toroidal recirculation cell. The warm air hits the ceiling, travels to the cold walls, cools down, and then falls to the floor. This cold, falling air is drawn back across the floor, towards the heat source, towards you. This is the return current. So you're standing there, asking questions to the dark. Suddenly you feel a cold breeze wrap around your ankles or touch the back of your neck. You freeze. Did you feel that? You didn't feel a ghost. You felt your own body heat processed by the room returning to you. The cold spot is literally a byproduct of your own warmth. This heat also causes thermal clicking. We've all heard it, the tap, tap, tap on a window pane. This is stick, slip, friction. A window frame is usually metal or wood. The pane is glass. When you stand near a window, your radiant heat warms the frame. Aluminum expands much faster than glass. The frame tries to grow, but the glass holds it back. Stress builds up. Eventually, it overcomes the friction and snap. It slips a tiny fraction of a millimeter. That slip creates a percussive tick sound. And here's the kicker. It happens when the window cools down, too. So you walk up to the window, heat it up, nothing happens. You walk away, the window cools and contracts. Tap, tap. You think a ghost is answering you, but in reality, the material is just shrinking back to its original size. Okay, cracks and cold spots are one thing, but what about objects moving? What about a door slamming shut on its own? Surely that's gravity or a ghost? Well, actually, usually it's Pascal's principle. We have to treat the house like a hydraulic system. It's a series of sealed boxes connected by hallways. When you open a door, you aren't just opening a barrier. You're acting like a piston. You are pushing a massive volume of air into the room or pulling it out. And this creates a pressure wave. Now, pressure is powerful. A standard door is about 2 square meters. You only need a tiny pressure difference, 5 pascals, which is nothing, barely a whisper, to generate 10 newtons of force on a door face. That's about a kilogram of push. If there's a door upstairs and it's unlatched, resting on a rusty hinge, that 10 newtons is enough to break the stiction, the static friction holding it in place. So the timeline looks like this. You open the front door violently. A pressure wave then travels down the hallway. It hits the bedroom door upstairs. That door pops open, but the sound takes time to travel, and the air takes time to equalize. You might not hear the slam until seconds later, or the door might swing slowly, caught in the draft that you created. And then there's the walking wake. As you move, you drag air behind you, just like a boat drags water. This wake can extend 2 meters behind you and travel at over a meter a second. This creates the follower effect. You walk past a table with a candle or a piece of loose paper. You pass it. You stop. 2 seconds later, your wake catches up. The candle flickers, the paper slides. You turn around, and something moved just after you passed. It feels intelligent. It feels like it's stalking you, but it's turbulence. But what about the object that slides off a shelf when nobody is near it? For this, we look at tribology, the science of friction and wear, specifically the tribology of dust. Dust is weird. On soft surfaces, it's abrasive, but on hard, smooth surfaces, like polished wooden shelves or a glass table, dust acts as a solid lubricant. It acts like thousands of tiny little roller bearings. Imagine a vase on a mantelpiece. Over 30 years, the house has settled. The mantle is slightly crooked. Gravity wants to pull the vase down, but friction holds it in place. It's perfectly balanced on the edge of slipping. That's right. Vase. Vase is present tense. Vase is past. I don't know. Fuck. Then you walk into the room. Your footsteps generate Rayleigh waves. Low-frequency vibrations that travel through the floorboards and up into the furniture. These tiny vibrations jiggle the vase. This is called vibration-induced sliding. For a split second, the vibration lifts the vase microscopically, reducing the friction, and then gravity wins, and the vase slides. Yes, I'm using vase and vase interchangeably because I don't know how to pronounce it, and I don't care. To you, looking across the room, the vase moved on its own. It looked like a finger pushed it, but in reality, you provided the activation energy. Your footsteps shook the floor just enough to let the dust do its job. So what are we left with? We have a cascade effect. You enter the house, your entry creates a pressure wave that unlatches a door, your breath swells the floorboards until they crack, your heat creates a cold draft, your footsteps shake objects off shelves. It's a feedback loop. You're hunting a phantom that is generated by your own existence. But the key, the absolute key, is time. Latency. The house has memory. It stores your energy, your heat, your moisture, and releases it minutes or hours later. This time lag is what tricks our brains. We can't connect the breath we took 10 minutes ago to the crack we hear now. Does this mean ghosts aren't real? Physics can't answer that. But physics can say that the specific phenomena that we associate with hauntings, the cold spots, the creaks, the moving doors, are predictable, deterministic results of living bodies entering or invading a dead space. We are never truly alone in these places. We are always accompanied by the physical wake of our own bodies. We don't find the ghost. We build it, breath by breath, step by step, out of the dust and the silence.
We cracked the code, we broke the spell. Another myth debunked so well. Till next time, don't be deceived. Stay sharp, stay smart. Believe in what's believed. Truth wins out every time. Truth wins out every time.